Can you hear me?
Can hear you.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
Good, good. How have you been since you got back?
It's been a journey, man. Like I've had so this week I started like moving yesterday and like just like proper basic movement. So like I had what did I do yesterday? I did like some pause back squats yesterday. Um what else did I do yesterday? Oh, some strict muscle ups and then like just a 30-minute C2 bike.
Yeah.
And like my fucking legs and hips today, man, are just like, what are you doing? I'm like, I am not lifting enough weight to be as sore as I am. Like, but like I'm like weird. So like my body actually has felt okay. So like obviously I was sore, stiff, stuff like that after like the game, sore and stiff like after all the travel and stuff like that. But that cleared pretty quick.
Yeah.
Um, but then it was the like just my head, like
Okay. Your
it
head.
just felt yeah, like my I just felt my head just felt really tired. Like it's the
Okay.
only way I can describe it.
Yeah. Yeah. As in like that adrenal fatigue kind of feeling that I don't know what. Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly that. Just that thing of like, I mean, it's the same after every comp, right? Like you have like I always call it like post comp blues.
Yeah.
So like you finish the comp, you have like you've had a massive adrenaline dump, and you just have that like I'm not really sure what I'm doing with myself now.
Yeah.
So like it's been that, but it feels like it's been that times like 1,000,
Right.
added with added jet lag as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, putting it in perspective, I've been training for this for 8 years. Is it
Ten
like 8 years
years.
now? 10 years now.
Yeah.
Uh, then it's like that whole build up, and then you know because of that, it's just been so long. It's just like fuck. This is
Oh, yeah.
it. It's because we had the same when we went as well. Like after you just like fuck. Like what do I do with myself? Like it's almost like a depression.
Yeah, like it really is. Like, and it's that thing of like, I'm not really sure what to do with myself. Like, train, like, if I like a chat around training and I'm just like, well, I don't want anything structured just yet. I just kind of want to move and like, yeah, like it's really weird because it is that thing of like, and in my mind, I was very much on the thing of like, this as a comp was either going to be like make or break competing wise, I think.
Okay. Okay.
So
As in like after you did it, you were gonna be like, yeah, I've had enough kind of competing, or I'm gonna keep going. Is that what you
yeah,
mean?
exactly right. And I
Okay.
didn't know like which way it was going to go.
Yeah.
So because it's that thing of like in my head, like I've had this thing of like there's been comps that I've wanted to do,
Yeah.
and the games being like the pinnacle of that,
Yeah.
and just over the course, like have done all of those comps now. So it's been
Yeah.
that thing of like I've done all of the what I would deem to be the big comps that I'm able to do.
Yeah.
The last one to do was the games, which has now been a tick, and I did have that little moment of like I think it was probably around about 3 weeks out where I was like, shit, like what happens after this? Like
Yeah.
and then I had that like that clarity of like, well, this is either going to go down and be like, okay, I want to like continue this and like I really enjoyed it and I want to come back again, or it's
Yeah.
going to be the other way where I'm like, actually, I've kind of like I've completed what I wanted to complete and that's me done.
So where you at now? What have you decided? Have you decided? Have you decided
Yeah,
what?
oh, I'm going back. So like so after the last event, I had like 30 minutes of just like I'm a bit like not happy with like my performance and stuff like that, and just a bit like bit frustrated with some of the things. Like wasn't at a point where I could take the positives from it. Was very much just in that like just feeling a bit shit about that last event,
Okay.
and
Okay.
then probably about 30 minutes later, I think like I dropped down a message and I was like, lads, we're not done here. We're going back. We've got 12 months. We're going to bring a better package in 12 months.
What is that like? What's the overriding feeling after like the whole weekend rather than just like the last workout? Like, how did you feel like the kind of whole weekend when like now you've kind of had a bit of time to kind of stew on it a little bit more?
Very up and down. So
Okay.
some things where I've been like, I'm absolutely buzzing with that, like, and other things where I'm just a bit like, I've the only workout was that last workout where I was disappointed in my performance. Everything else, I was very much
Right.
on the thing of like, I've done the best that I believe I can in this workout at this stage. Like
Yes.
until I get stronger, until I get fitter, like I've done the best I can with this. So
Okay.
in terms of that, like it's really difficult to be like, okay, well, I'm disappointed in this.
Hmm.
But it's still very much that thing of like, I want to be able to go and I want to be able to bring a better package to it
Yeah.
again. And it
Yeah.
is the thing for me is, I mean, we say it all the time, like there's levels to the game,
Yeah.
and the games is a whole other level. Like it is an absolute different kettle of fish. And to the point of, and I, I think I've seen it before, like at regionals. And the one thing that really stands out for me was like 2018 regionals, where
Mm.
it where they had Linda as one of the programmed workouts.
Yeah.
And I remember watching the females go through it, and I remember the first three heats of it getting absolutely annihilated, and then watching the final heat go through, and like
It's
the
just
watching the games athletes
yeah.
just absolutely blow this workout apart. And
Yeah.
it's that thing of like, obviously, if you are getting to that level, you are already an incredible athlete.
Hmm.
Like the games it's a different game, and it is
Yeah.
like when you're getting to that level, it's like watching competitors do a different sport,
Yeah.
or sorry, not a different sport, a different event.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely that same case, like on the competition floor. Like you see people that are in like that final heat for the day, and like even then, it's like they're doing a different event to you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and it's just that thing of like, holy shit! Like I've got work to do to be able to get to that point.
And it's like hard for that to be tangible until you've actually been there and done it as well, I think. Because
Massively,
when you're kind of like watching it on a screen, you're kind of like you're thinking to yourself, you're probably thinking to yourself, I can fucking do that. Like
yeah.
then you're doing it in maybe you're doing it in your own gym. Maybe you try something in your own gym and everything's like perfectly set up. You've not done any like events before that, and you're like, fuck it, look at me, sort of thing. And then you
It
actually
doesn't mean I'm going to the games. Let me tell you, if you were going to the games, you'd be at the games.
but when you add all these other factors in, it's different gravy. It's totally
Massively,
different gravy.
massively. And it's something that I spoke to Fraser about actually, which was this thing of like between the pair of us, like we've never really understood this rookie year thing. And
Hmm.
like, why is the rookie year such a big thing? And why is it so rare to see people do incredible in their rookie year? And
Hmm.
it's that thing of like getting to the games requires quite a specific type of fitness.
Hmm.
Being at the games is a different type of fitness.
Yeah.
The problem being that if you spend too much time up here in games fitness before you're there, you actually won't get there because you haven't got that foundational point below it.
Hmm.
Whereas actually, once you've got that foundational point of like, yeah, okay, I'm fit enough to be able to go and to compete at the games, then it's like, okay, well, actually, now you are there. Now you can spend longer up here in that games training section. And therefore, next time you're going to the games, that's when you should see a better showing for stuff.
Yeah, that it does make sense that. I think maybe a good example of like that scenario was maybe David Shrunk a couple of years ago when like all year round he's like doing kind of games X style event training in his training and gets to like doesn't get past quarterfinals or semifinals or whatever it was, and it's like it's as you said, it's like it's a almost like a different sort of fitness when you're at the games.
Massively. And like, yeah, there's some stuff that like transfers across, but it is totally different.
What was there a moment over the weekend where it was like kind of slapping the dick, welcome to the games, like this is actually the next level? Because the first two events you did really, really good, didn't you? Like the 7K run and then the weightlifting. But yeah, was there a moment that was like, here you are. This is the level now.
So there's probably a couple of them. So one of them was obviously very much that last workout,
Okay.
and the deadlift sled workout.
Yeah.
Like deadlifts for me are no, actually no, scratch that. It was the long chipper workout
Okay.
with those fucking kettlebell pistols.
Kettlebells.
Like, yeah. And again, watching people when they like blowing through those pistols, like blowing, like doing weighted pistols quicker than I do pistols.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's just a thing of like, huh, okay,
Hmm.
levels. Like, there's been a few of them where it's like, so like that deadlift sled workout, like, I'm not bad at a deadlift, and I would suggest I'm pretty good on a sled, and my
Yeah.
legs just fucking stopped. Like, I'm in my brain, I'm being like, right, we need to go faster. Like, speed up. This is a light sled. You need to fucking turn over faster. And my
Yeah.
legs literally just turned around to me and were like, nah. Like, no, no, nah is not an option. Like, speed up.
Yeah.
No, nah, can't. Nah. Like, oh dear.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Um, from kind of, you know, from what you've said there, when we kind of last did like an interview, I think it was like before Sid, maybe like 2, 3 years ago when you were down in
Yeah, yeah. It
and
was
freezing steel in your feet.
yeah.
Yeah, and all this sort of stuff. How did you like? Has there been a difference this last year, or how have you kind of picked this year? Was it like just the initial? You knew you were going to go up a category, like, and you were like, right, this is the year we really need to kind of go all in for, or like, how's it kind of played out? Because I guess since maybe sanctionals, has it become a bit more like, again, we kind of talk about levels and it being like a bit more tangible and stuff. Like for you, how's like the goal kind of progressed from 10 years ago and keeping that kind of realistic element about, you know what I mean, about it all? Because some people
Yeah.
are, I mean, the amount of people throughout the years, people have been like, going to the games, me. It's like,
I.
you know me.
Good job. Good job.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, how's that evolved kind of over the last kind of 10 years, like the goal, and then deciding that maybe this was the year, or did you not? Or you know what I mean?
So I definitely did decide that this was the year. I went up with the idea of like, I'm just leveling up into my new age category. It's an
Mhm.
opportunity to go and do that.
Yeah.
I think for me, the bit that really reinforced it was Lowlands. So it's
Okay.
been second at Lowlands, but knowing that I was right at the very top end of that as an age,
Mm.
knowing how good Lowlands is, like as a competition,
Yeah.
and performing really, really well there, like that was one of those where it kind of had that like, okay, like we can really springboard off the back of this.
Right. Okay.
And it is exactly what we did. So that was the thing where it was like, actually, okay, let's knuckle down the stuff. And like there's been a whole heap of like life challenges and stuff along as part of the way.
Yeah.
Uh, but do you know what? It is that thing of like, we've done so well at this.
Hmm.
We're at a really good level. Well, let's move this forward. And it is that thing of like, I get it's your next natural step, right? If you're performing well at these bigger comps, then there has to be another step beyond
Yeah.
that. And the games is that next step.
Hmm.
And then it's that thing of like, again, it's what we said earlier. It's that thing of what do we need to do down here to be able to get to that games
Yeah.
point? And it's managing that.
How, again, like interested to know, because obviously you 10 years ago to now is a very, very different athlete. Like you're 10 years older and that sort of stuff. How's your training evolved over that time as well? Like,
Um,
because obviously, when people kind of go into the masters categories and all this sort of stuff, they're like, oh, there's big thing on recovery, like doing less volume, more prehab, all this sort of stuff. But it'd be good to kind of hear it from the horse's mouth a little bit more of like, actually, what's your experience from this kind of last 10 years as well?
So I've definitely I've definitely taken things like warm-ups, movement work, stuff like that way more seriously. Um,
Okay.
for me, again, it's that thing of like you get older, but you don't want to get older. So you kid yourself that actually, like, you can still train like a 20-year-old, like, oh, it's fine, like, do a couple of shoulder rolls and then bang, I'm going to go and like max out my snatch. It's like, no, 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 no. Like, I need a good 30, 40 minutes of warming my shit up before I even,
Okay.
but before I can even pass below parallel. Like, I need a 30-minute warm up just to air squat.
Yeah.
So, like, taking more time around things like that, but also listening to your body way more. So that idea of like, yes, I know I need to spend longer like on my warm up, and it's an absolute long-standing joke. Like as a masters athlete, you have to spend longer warming up and everything like that.
Yeah.
Also listening to your body more. Like there will be points, not just like over the course of your week, but over like your months and over your years, where you can manage more volume. You can manage more volume because your other stresses within your life are at a lower level.
Yeah.
However, being a slightly older athlete, like those other stresses do tend to creep up a little bit more, whether that's like work, life, etc., etc., etc. Like all of that starts to creep up a little bit. And recognizing and understanding that and reacting to that is really important. I know, like, certainly I've been very guilty in the past of if it's been something that has been like written in the program, then I must do that.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, we have like sets and we have rep ranges, and it's that thing of like, okay, well, if I'm not doing like the top end of the sets of the reps, then I'm potentially leaving stuff on the table. And actually, I don't want to be leaving stuff on the table because, I want to progress and I've got this end goal.
Mhm.
But the reality is that, you know, that self-regulation is so important. And it's actually, it takes a really sensible head to have that thing of like, actually, do you know what? Today's not the day for this. Like
Yeah.
today, I need to not even necessarily go to like my lower end sets and reps. It might be that, I can't hit anywhere close to my percentages, or it's maybe that I need to drop these even further, or I need to change the workout entirely because, like, I don't know, I'm old and my knees hurt, so I can't thrust today because like my knee tendonitis is just like off the charts because I've squatted a billion times this week. Like being sensible with it around things like that and saying, actually, do you know what? If I listen to my body, I'm going to get better results from it. If I
Yeah.
keep just flogging it into oblivion, like eventually, like all of that stress it's gonna level up and it's just gonna wind up spilling out over the side. And as soon as it starts to spill out over the side, that's when the frustration comes in from training. And it'll start with like training fatigue in terms of like, I'm not feeling great in training, I'm tired, I'm grumpy, blah, 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 blah. I can't hit my numbers. So I'm going to try and do more to get around that. And then it's the thing of like niggly little injuries start to come in. Oh, like back's a little bit tight, or shoulders a little bit tight today. And we've all done it where we just continue to ignore these warning signs.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
eventually just gets to that point where your body will put the brakes on you in the end.
Yeah.
And there's a really fine line because you have you have to go and you have to be willing to hurt.
Hmm.
And there are points where it's unavoidable that you are going to be a little bit niggly or you're going to be a little bit sore, and there's still shit that you need to do because it's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, it's being sensible enough and being, I guess, been in the game long enough to recognize the difference between actually, okay, I'm just a bit stiff and a bit sore and I can push through this,
Hmm.
but actually, okay, if this continues down this road, like there is more to this.
Yeah.
And you don't always get it right. And I think trying to get it right 100% of the time is impossible,
Yeah.
because it'll be one of those where, you know, you adjust something to the lower volume and you go, actually I could have done a little bit more. I have maybe left something on the table there.
Hmm.
And then you try something similar a few weeks later and you almost have that mental point of, but I did this a couple of weeks ago. and I felt like I'd left something on the table. So actually, I'm just going to push through it, and then your body just slams the brakes on you instantly. So it's yeah, it's being sensible with it in terms of like what does your body need at that point, and listening and recognizing that and trying to problem solve it.
But I think especially since having like two little ones and stuff now and trying to juggle like doing more work, more family bits, and obviously the amount of training has had to come down, to kind of accommodate for that. Um, my big thing in my head now is like my most important thing with training is consistency. And it kind of links a little bit to what you said there. It's like if you do something and then it messes your like consistency up, so it means that you can't squat for like another 2 weeks or something like that, it's like I I think you're better to kind of, again, taking your advice, like maybe not do it, maybe drop it, maybe drop the percentages. My question is, and you've already kind of touched on it to be fair, say people are kind of in a similar situation to you, to like where there's a bit too much. Uh, how can I rephrase this? What are what are like ways people can streamline that knowledge, like and that experience that you've kind of just shared a bit of there? Like you mentioned a few markers, but is there anything else that you kind of like advice that you can pass on to people who maybe are struggling and don't know what the limit is?
I guess it's recognizing probably where you are within your training. So
Yeah.
for like if you don't have a comp on the horizon,
Hmm.
like you've maybe got something planned, but it's not planned. Like you're not in a 12-week phase where we're starting to build you up towards a comp.
Yeah.
Starting to get these like this feeling of just I'm not particularly motivated to train, or
Mm.
things are feeling stiffer, sorer than perhaps they would be normally,
Yeah.
things like that. That's going to be a great opportunity for you to just say, do you know what? I just need to reduce back this volume. Like,
Yeah.
yes, but like I'm not on a official deload week, but do you know what? Like the world doesn't always work within those wonderful 5 6 week cycles. Like sometimes your body can do a little bit more, and sometimes it can do a little bit less. And with that, like when you're that far out from a comp, it's going to make no odds to you. All
Mhm.
it's going to wind up doing is assisting with your longevity
Yeah.
within the sport and with your ability then to be able to compete down the line.
Yeah.
I would suggest if it's leading into a comp, it's
Mhm.
going to be very different.
Yeah.
Like, and the reality is that leading into a comp, you are not going to feel good.
Hmm.
Like when you are somewhere probably between a week to 2 weeks up to around about 6 weeks out from a comp,
Yeah.
your head is going to be absolutely all over the shop.
Yeah.
Because at that point, that's where like your volume has been super high, like your intensity levels have been super high, and your body is really fucking tired.
Yeah.
At that point, that's where it needs to be more of a case of like, actually, you do need to start to push on through at this point,
Yeah.
knowing that like you've got that taper week and trusting that ability to be able to taper, that actually you will come down and you will absolutely ricochet off the back end of that. So I think recognizing your timing within where you are within your year
Yeah.
is super important. So it's that thing of like, okay, I've not got anything, like I've not got anything on the horizon.
Hmm.
So actually at this point, if I'm feeling tired or I don't not feeling motivated, like I can adjust what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I can adjust that, whether that's a case of like I speak to Dan and we just adjust like our overall volume, or whether it's like I speak to Dan and we adjust like actual what the movements are,
Hmm.
whatever it might be. Or if it's just a case of like when I'm leading into a comp, then it just becomes that actually, like, you need to give your head a little bit of a rattle. Like
Yeah. Dig in.
we've got something at the end of this that we need to get hold of.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really, really good. That's really good information, that, because I think a lot of people, like you say, they kind of lose that perspective on the year and where they're at in the training, and they're kind of grinding through training and they're just digging themselves into a hole. And actually it's like just take a step back. get that minimum kind of effective dose, get feeling good again, and just kind of, like you say, just stay consistent until you really, you're starting to do that 12-week build, a 10-week build to your competition.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's super, super good
I mean,
information.
in my mind, it's the difference between like training and competing.
Yeah.
So like when you're into that lead into competition, you're competing. Like the lead in, obviously at the comp, you're competing. Out with that, you're training.
Yeah.
And the two of those should be very, very different.
Yeah.
What you're trying to do in that training phase is to improve your skills. You're looking to improve your fitness. You're looking to be able to improve your strength. And you're looking to almost get those component parts all improved.
Yeah.
When we start to get into our competing phase, we need to bring all of those component parts together. And then not just that, but then be able to showcase that. So not just like, okay, I can put all of these things together and I can create this. It's a case of like, I need to be able to create this in the best manner. So I need to be able to like almost have that thing of like, hey, look at what I can do. Isn't this amazing? But the only way that you're going to be able to get to compete and to be able to showcase what you can do in the best manner is if you train to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And flogging yourself constantly through training isn't training. It's
Yeah.
competing.
Yeah. It's drag. Yeah. I wouldn't even call it training or competing. It's just dragging yourself.
Yeah. That's along to the gym. Yeah. Oh, I need to do this because I need to tick the box. Like, nah, not a thing.
Just want to touch on intensity a little bit more. And again, how how much intensity can you deal with now? So as an example, like as a guide, back when we were kind of, training, back when when I was training like more full time, you'd be like, right, there's probably twice in a week, really, that I'm gonna hit like some really fucking hard intensity. Like, is that kind of still the case with yourself now, or is it like more kind of once a week you're hitting some hard intensity, once every 10 days? Can you still manage? I don't know. How's
Yeah.
that kind of evolved as well?
Once, maybe twice, but that second one I am maybe kidding myself on just a little bit.
Okay.
Like, and out with that, it's like there needs to be that one point in the week where you can almost look through like what you've got for your training for your week, and you almost have that like it's that one. Like
Yeah.
that is the one that I am putting myself in an absolute bin for.
Yeah.
And it isn't necessarily like my general experience with that is that actually it's probably not a very CrossFit workout. It's more actually just simple fitness. Because then for that simple fitness, your limiting factor is your fitness.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's something that's perhaps a little bit more CrossFit-y, then it's maybe more of a movement capacity thing that is the limiting factor. Does that make sense? So
It does.
rather than being like a heart rate or a breathing rate thing, it's more of a, okay, well, actually, I can't do that volume of chest to bars.
Yeah.
So generally for me, it's a once a week. I'd like to think it was twice, but I'm kidding myself. And that second one, I'm like, oh, I'm training so hard. But the reality is that actually, if I'd done that on a fresh week, I probably would be doing to that.
Changing lanes a little bit. So you've been like a coach for 20 years, 20 years now?
Yeah.
Um, and
God, that's really frightening, by the way. What scares me is the fact that I've been a coach longer than there's been people alive that are on the program. Like that. Point out, I'm only 40.
We'll
Like I
scratch
feel
that
like I'm
bit.
about 90.
How do you find so you're an athlete and you're a coach? How do you find that experience of like your coach's brain, helping you kind of towards the games? Because I presume it can help, but maybe does it hinder sometimes as well? Like what's kind of the overriding thing with this being a coach and using that or not being helpful as an athlete?
Yeah, I think at times it's helpful. I think at other times it's incredibly unhelpful.
Can you give
Uh,
some examples?
yeah. So like, if we go back to this idea of like training and competing,
Yeah.
I think as an athlete, as a coach, when you're training, I think it's really helpful because I think if I think you have that ability to be able to take your athlete hat off, put your coaching hat on, and have that like almost that like that bird's eye view of what's going on with you. So you try and remove that emotional connection with it.
Yeah.
The problem being then that if you start to do that in quite a stressful situation, i.e., when you're competing, it then
Mm.
becomes this thing of like you start to second guess what your decisions are because the emotional attachment is far more difficult to remove
Yeah.
because you want what you want at the end of the day. So you want to be able to compete and you want to be able to qualify for this thing. And it's very easy as a coach to say to somebody else, you should do this. This is what's best for you. Problem being that as a coach, you then have your internal monologue of, yeah, okay, but what about if I do this? Okay, but what about if I did this? Like the thoughts that you would have normally for your athlete that you can then like have that like, okay, that's not good for them. That's not good for them. That's not good for them. That is.
Yeah.
But that's very difficult to do in a highly stressful situation. So from from a competing side of things, it absolutely gets in the way. And that's where having a good coach is so helpful because not even a good coach, but a good coach and one that you can trust
Yeah.
is helpful because then it becomes that thing of like, and the perfect example of this is like over the course of like semi-finals in the games, like I absolutely switched off from coaching. Like I didn't have to think or didn't have to second guess myself. All I had to do was just to be pointed in the right direction by Dan and Fraz.
Hmm.
Like, go and do this. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to question it. I've just
Just
like
carry on.
I've got enough trust and I've got enough belief in them
Yeah.
that if they tell me that this is what I need to do and this is what I'm capable of doing,
Hmm.
then I am. I
Yeah.
don't have to have that coaching thought of, oh, okay, yeah, but what about this and what about that and what about the other? Because they are already thinking about that,
Yeah.
which means then that I can go and I can perform and I can do that showcase thing of the athlete of look at what I can do.
Hmm.
Whereas
Yeah.
when you're coach, like when you're training, having that coaching head is really important because actually that allows you that ability to be able to do things like self-regulate, be sensible, scale effectively for things when you need to be able to do that. So it gives, I think it's really important to have both sides of that in terms of like, yeah, being a coach and athlete is really helpful, but also at times it is really unhelpful as well.
I just want to loop back to that rookie, the rookie bit that we kind of run about before as well. For me, I think that's one of the reasons why some rookies do really, really well at on the first year is that there's no expectations on this person to do well in the first year or anything. There's just like that freedom to be like, well, I'm just gonna go and do what I can do, fuck shit up.
Yeah.
And I feel like, that's why some rookies have a really, really good first year is like they've that pressure's just like off them. It's just like just go and do what you do. And then the second thing I wanted to kind of touch on, and I think this links to what we do as JST. So like we try and be at competitions and coach people at competitions. Um, and that's because for the reasons you've kind of exactly said is that when you've a coach there to kind of like, either tell you what to do or kind of guide you on what to do, or even just kind of like uh, repeat to you exactly what you've said because that is the right thing to do. Like any of those three things help people so much, because I think what I didn't realize before Sid, and we kind of did a bit of a feedback form and stuff, is like how many people experience like imposter syndrome and like, oh, I shouldn't be here and like I don't know what I'm going to do and all these kind of thoughts and feelings. Because I think for myself, uh, like I'm very much a person who like I'm always like this. I'm never like really up or down too much. Uh, and when I went into competition, I feel like I was relatively chilled. And yeah, so I think for me, looking at the kind of information we got at Sid, and again, based off what you've kind of said there, I think that's why for us, like to help get the best out of our athletes, that's why we try and get to competitions to support them, because that is really kind of, it's like the icing on the cake, it's the cherry on the cake. Like they put in all this work, which is the training, but then you can screw it up by not kind of, executing and doing, the best you can. When you,
Massively. What it allows athletes to go and be the racehorse.
yeah,
Like it's that simple thing. Like, you don't need to worry about how you're going to get from like the stable to the starting line. Like you don't need to worry about anything else. All you need to worry about is you just need to go really fucking fast.
yeah.
That is your job. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to do all the other stuff. I'm
Mhm.
going to be from here to here. I'm going to make sure that you're in a really good place to be able to go and to showcase that ability. All you need to concentrate on is going and doing your job. Like,
Yeah.
and your job is go and be fast.
Yeah. I think there's got in training, uh, for me, it's big that the athlete, they are the king and queen of like their journey and their destination. Really, ultimately, what they want to do. So by that I mean that they can reach out to us as coaches, and for any advice they need, any guidance they need, we can obviously steer them in the right direction. But ultimately, it's on them to the take the responsibility to do that. Um, Again, like the athlete's got to take the ownership of the decisions that they make as well. So coming back to what you said before with like the volume, intensity, managing that, learning about that, like you've got to take ownership of those situations. Obviously, a coach can kind of guide you so much, uh, but during training, for the most part, like the athletes really got to be the king and queen of their journey. Obviously, when we get to competition, that's again where, like, for the most part, like Huw, you probably know how to warm up because you're going to do the same warm up that you did in the gym, you know, 300 times over the last however many years. Do you know what I mean? But to remove some of that like decision fatigue and that sort of stuff, that's where like a coach can just be like, you start your warm up in 5 minutes. Huw,
Yeah.
go and get some food. Do you know what I mean? It's little things where when you're in that competition moment, it is that little bit harder to remember what's important sometimes and what you need to do, or maybe you do know what you need to do, but it's kind of like, oh, I don't actually know what time it is, and you just need a coach to be like, go and eat
Go
your
and do.
yeah,
Yeah, massively. Because it's the thing of like, again, it's the stress thing, right?
yeah,
What are we trying to do? Like when we're competing, we are in what is going to be what's going to be our most stressful situation in terms of like our training and sport.
yeah.
So what can we do to make that far easier?
Mhm.
Well, if you're having to do that by yourself as an individual, you need to make sure that you are fueling at the right time. So you need to make sure that you are getting to the warm-up area at the right time. You need to make sure that you're starting your warm-up correctly. Like, are you starting it at the right time? Are you starting it at the right pace? Like,
Mhm.
you need to be able to make sure that you are thinking about what you're doing within the workout. You need to make sure that you're keeping an eye on like when they're calling out for your heat time. You need to make sure that you're in the corral at the right time, blah, 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 blah. Like all of these things. Like
Yeah.
it's a lot of shit to have to try and organize. Oh, and by the way, whilst you're organizing all of this, go and perform at your best.
There you fucking go.
Like you can't. Like your brain and your body cannot manage that level of stress. Okay, so as a coach, what can we do? I can tell you when to go and eat. I can tell you when you need to be in the warm-up area. I can tell you how to warm up. I can take all of these little micro decisions that on their own don't make a huge amount of difference, but over the course of a weekend make
Yeah.
such a huge difference to the volume of stress that you can manage. Because you don't have that amount of stress that's now in your bathtub, you can now manage to increase your levels of stress by increasing your performance, by increasing your physical capacity. Like you can then go and showcase what it is that you're capable of rather than in the back of your mind going, yeah, but I've got like another 2 events today. Shit, what time do I need to be at that event? Like you don't have to worry about that you can just focus on the task at hand. You can just go and be the racehorse.
Working with the younger athletes now and people who have come like are kind of fresh into kind of doing CrossFit and competing and all that sort of stuff. Again, it's probably dawned on me this last few years more, like the realization of and the importance of doing like I'd call the CrossFit Games an A competition of doing like B competitions and C competitions,
Yeah.
where going into those competitions, like it's not you're not peaking for it or anything, but that's where you're going to gain experience for then when you get to that A competition, you can implement what you've learned. Because again, like when I was competing, uh, I was kind of lucky in the sense that I just kind of got dragged into a team. Like I kind of could copy what everyone else was doing because they'd done it once or twice before. Could watch kind of Steve and John, see what they're doing. Most other people aren't in that situation, so they do need to go to competitions to figure that sort of stuff out.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you can really, and again, maybe at a B and C competition, maybe your coach isn't there as well. But if you can get as many things right as possible at those competitions, then when you come to your A competition and your coach is there and you've learned this and this from, a B or C competition that you've done like earlier in the year, like you're gonna be cooking on gas. Whereas
That's
10 years later, where you are now, you probably don't need to do as many B competitions because you got that experience. But I think starting out for me, kind of really realizing and working with younger athletes who've have not had that many opportunities to compete, I can really see the importance of that now.
massively. And it's the thing of it's a learning thing, right?
Mm,
It's the win or learn mentality.
yeah.
So it's that thing of like, okay, we're going to go and do this comp. Did we win? Yes. Okay. But still, what did we learn off the back of that? Like, how did we win? Like, what can we implement for our next competition that's going to enable us to be just as successful at our next comp?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we didn't win. Okay. Well, what did we learn?
Hmm.
Like, what could we do better? What
Yeah.
is well within the comp? What did we need to improve on? What were our feelings off the back of the comp? And then debrief off the back of that. Okay. Let's go and do another comp, another B or a C comp, and let's try and put that stuff into practice. So it might be one of those where, it's been a 2-day comp and I felt that on day number 2, like I was just incredibly underfueled or I
Hmm.
was just not recovered on day number 2. Okay, so what can we do to then try and make that better? Is that a case of like, okay, we need to make sure that we've got better nutritional strategies in place around that? Is it a case of through training, we need to increase our volume tolerance? Like, what do we need to do? Again, it comes back to that. Like, let's go and solve that problem. We've
Yeah.
recognized the problem is, let's go and solve it. And then let's go and test it. And then let's go and recognize our problem, let's solve it, and then let's go and test it. And the more testing that you can do, the more successful you will be because you will have those strategies in place of like, yeah, I know that this works and this has worked across multiple comps. There's no reason why it's not going to work now. Or I've never tried, like, you wouldn't change like your equipment on game day. Like it's not one of those where you're like,
Oh no.
what? I've got this like really good double under workout and I just got issued this skipping rope that I don't have to use, but it's quite shiny. So I think I'm going to give it a go. I've not even checked whether or not it's the right length, but it's shiny. So I'm going to use it. Like, nah, don't do that because it's not going to end well for you. Like you need to have this idea of like, it's tried, it's tested, it's tried, it's tested. Like the more that you can trial and the more that you can test, you just know what's right. And that can be down to everything from like, whether that's your comp strategies in terms of like your event strategies, whether that's down to like how you fuel for strategies, or even down to like basic things. So like what you're wearing.
Yeah.
It's that thing of like, oh, we've been issued with like a new pair of shorts. Yeah, okay, but like what if that pair of shorts is like it's too short, it's too long, it's too tight, it's too baggy? Like, what if all of these things? And then suddenly like that's the thing that will impact your performance because it comes back and into that stress thing.
Hmm.
And it's like you've only got so much like control over that. Like
Yeah.
certainly, like obviously, like at things like the games, like you get issued with kit and stuff like that. But like all of those things can come into place beforehand, and like the more stuff that you can do in terms of trialing and testing and stuff like that, easier it's going to be for you.
Um, Turning this back on you then, and for the actual games weekend, I think it'd be interesting to just kind of dive into exactly as you said, like you either win or you learn. Like maybe a few wins from the weekend, getting into the details of that, and then a few lessons because you've obviously mentioned the last event, kind of not feeling too happy about that. Yeah, should we go through wins first? Wins
Yeah,
first?
absolutely. So,
Yeah.
I mean, massive wins for me, like to have two top 10 finishes, one of them being a top five finishes, I like couldn't ask for more than that.
Yeah.
Like absolutely buzzing off the back of that.
Were you
Uh,
expecting? I guess were you expecting that?
no,
No. Okay.
absolutely not. Like for me, it was a case of I just want to kind of stay in and around that like top 10, top 15, and
Yeah.
like stay within that as spots over the course. And if that's
Mm.
the case, then I'll be absolutely buzzing. Um, up to the final workout, I was inside the top 15 all
Yeah.
weekend. So again, like it is one of those things where it's really easy for me to focus in on the negative side of things, because the negative side of things is that's the stuff that's almost like that needs to change.
Yeah.
Whereas actually to have that again, to have that coach's hat on and be like, actually, there's been a lot of positives to take away from this,
Hmm.
uh, is a really important one, because otherwise it is that it's very easy to get into that like, oh bollocks, this is not for me. Like I've not done a good job here, etc., etc., etc.
Was like you say, you're inside that cut line most of the weekend. Did you feel like you were uh like still chasing up the leaderboard or kind of like defending from that cut line? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Going into, I think it's quite event dependent.
Okay.
So it was very much like an event by event thing. So it was one of those where I'm like, okay, this is a good event for me. I can go and attack this. This is an event where actually it's going to be more a case of like trying to damage limitate. And
Okay.
some of that's also down to things like the workouts that not necessarily should be good for me, but workouts that I believe that I should have performed better on.
Yeah.
Actually, some of that switched midway through. So the GHD sandbag carry burpee workout
Yeah.
was one of those where that became actually I probably just need to damage limitate with this.
Okay.
Just going into that event, like my back had got really tight from the event prior, which was those pistols. Like it got tight in the warm up and didn't want to release great. So I knew then that like I've done a lot of work on my GHDs over the last year.
Yeah.
And it actually got to a point where if I'd looked at that workout probably even 8 or 9 months ago, that
Yeah.
volume of GHDs would have made my back go like, oh, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Whereas actually going into it, like initially when they'd released that workout, I was like, this is a very good workout for me. Like the
Yeah.
GHDs aren't at high enough volume for me to start to stress about my back.
Yeah.
Like bag carries are really good for me as a movement. Like I've got stupidly long arms, so it's really
Yeah.
helpful. And then like, I mean, Dan programs for me, so like burpees are like a they show up now and again within my
Yeah,
program.
occasionally.
Yeah, like I do the occasional burpee. So that as a workout, I was like, actually, this is an opportunity for me to attack. But then going into that as a workout, knowing that my back wasn't in a great situation, it became
Mm.
more about actually, I just need to try and defend this as well as I can. Like and manage my loading through the GHDs, and then just try and push as hard as I can through the carries and the burpees.
Right. Okay.
So I think it's more of a it's rather than a case of like, oh, I'm going to try and attack. It's more a case of like, what can I do within this event? Like, is this an event a really good one for me where I can go out and I can like do that showcasing of fitness, or is this an event where actually I need to limit my damage a little bit?
What do you mean?
So like one for me that was a case where I can go out and showcase it was the handstand bike double under workout.
Okay.
And if we hadn't had a flappy bit of tape, then that would have been another really good finish for me.
Yeah, yeah. From coming back to the sandbag one and like the pistol workout as well. Um, like What do you take as the win or lesson from that? Do you take it as a win? Do you take it as a lesson? Like
So
what's
a bit of both. Like genuinely, the fact that I managed to get back to the row in that workout is a massive win. Like
okay?
going with how the pistols looked and felt during the warm up,
Hmm.
like that could have been an even worse, like a horrific finish. Like
Okay.
that was the potential to not even complete a round of that workout.
Okay.
So the fact that we managed to get back to the row, get 49 calories into that, like that's a really, for me, is a big win.
Hmm.
The learning off the back of that is it's not necessarily a single leg strength thing that needs to be improved.
Hmm.
It's the ability to be able to pistol underweight.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's that simple. It becomes that very specific improvement as opposed to just well, actually, if I was better on my single leg work, then that would transfer across. Like my single leg work, training wise, has been really good.
Yeah.
Do single leg stuff every single week, um, but it wasn't specific enough for that.
Yeah.
It also wasn't heavy enough for that. So like, have done weighted pistols in the past,
Yeah.
but it's one of those where because it's a movement that I struggle with, like
Yeah.
I have never done weighted pistols with a 24 kilo kettlebell.
Yeah.
So it is that thing of like, okay, now that that's something that that I'm aware that is a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go and let's train that and let's
Yeah.
practice that and let's find what works for me and my weird ass body shape as opposed to somebody who's 5'3" and whose range of movement is far smaller.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, let's go through some other events of the weekend, like maybe some lessons as well now.
So what else have we got? For the lifting event, make sure that your coach writes down your conversions on your arm. It's really helpful. Because trying to convert pounds to kilos and like having that as a thing is not ideal. Like if you've got just so like Fraser just put a color coded chart on my arm,
Yeah.
way easy. Like I don't need to actually know what the weight is on the bar, other
Yes.
than like to announce it to my judge. But I
Yeah.
don't need to be sitting there getting into my own head of like, oh, I'm lifting this or I'm lifting that or I'm lifting the other or what is this? What am I adding up here? Because freedom units are really difficult to add.
Yeah.
Like actually, I just need to put on like two blues. I need to put on a green. I need to put on this. I need to put on that. Right. And I just need to tell my judge it's this and then just go and lift it. Easy. Like makes life 1,000 times easier.
Why is the US still living in the fucking 19th century and using
Oh,
pounds?
America.
America.
America. Like that, honestly, pound to kilo convert, like every CrossFitter has like certain pounds that they know. So everybody knows that like 95 pounds is 43 kilos.
Yeah.
Everybody knows 135 is 61, and they can do that just so quickly.
Yeah.
And they can do it because like we've done that through the open.
Yeah.
But like when it starts to get into that, like, oh, okay, this is a max lift and I've got a little bit more control around this. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
bit more like, oh shit, how
Yeah.
does this, but what is 305 and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So like, having it like on your arm of like, okay, this is 305. What it actually is in kilos doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You just need to put these colors on the bar. You need to tell the judge it's 305, and then you just need to go and lift it. Simple. Go with that. Yeah.
Let's
Um,
uh let's unpack the last event that you did.
yeah. Honestly, my body just fell apart.
Okay.
So
So
we
for the people that don't know, just kind of like give them a bit of an insight into what was the workout? What was the workout?
So it was 5 rounds for time of 6 ring muscle ups, 9 overhead squat at 70, and 12 box jump overs. That was meant to be at 30, but they adjusted it down to 24. That's a chat for another day, but adjusted it down to 24. And through like we had strategy meeting, and the plan was like, right, we're going to do a round every 2 minutes. Like
Okay.
people are starting to fall off around like round 4, round 5, like people are fully falling apart. So actually, if we go every 2 minutes, we'll be in a really good spot with this. Like we're going to walk our transitions. We're just going to stay nice and smooth. And round 1, round 2, sure enough, that was absolutely fine. And actually moving back to round number 3 felt okay.
Okay.
And then I jumped up for a ring muscle up and I couldn't kick.
Okay.
Like not even like I can't do a ring muscle up. I can't kip. It's like somebody it's like I suddenly had somebody else's body and I was trying to control somebody else's body.
Okay.
And I don't know if that was a case of like volume fatigue over the course of the weekend. I don't know if it was a course of like I perhaps just hadn't eaten enough going into that final event, but it was just I literally jumped up to the rings, tried to swing, and I was like, I actually can't swing.
Okay.
Dropped off, had a little moment, like composure,
Yeah.
back on again. But by that point, like that just fatigue just kicked my ass at that point.
Okay.
Like was then having to like break muscle ups, was having to break overhead squats, box jump overs were slow, and it just became then that compounding effort of just like now rather than moving through this at a good pace that is manageable, like whether that's a case of like just all the volume and all of the emotion and everything like that, like just happened to hit me in that moment. I genuinely, I don't know, like that's still getting unpacked at this stage. But I would suggest my thought is that it had probably just hit me at that moment because the like an inability to be able to kip swing or even just like jump up and do just a muscle up.
Yeah.
Like I think it was just like everything compounded together and then just getting slower and slower and slower and just like getting further and further and further and further behind, which is them's the breaks sometimes, right? Like them's the breaks. They're not all going to be great events. They're not always going to be bad events. Sometimes they're going to be absolutely shite events. That was one of those.
You said like on the post, like back to the drawing board, your Instagram post. What's the first thing that's got on the drawing board?
Volume tolerance.
Okay.
So try and
Specific
get
movement or in general?
a little bit in general. So some of it is looking at my thoughts on that final event were just that it was that like, okay, this is now like it has been the volume that has managed to get hold of me. So overall volume tolerance. I want to go away. I need to work on my ring muscle ups. I need to go away. I need to be a little bit stronger. I need to go away and I need to be able to do things like weight pistols. So some of it is quite movement specific. And other than that, it's more of the same and more of it for next year.
Uh, what are the next 12 months going to look like then? Is it just like all in for the games next year? Were you doing any other competitions? Is there, other than the volume tolerance, is there anything else that's specific that you're gonna be dialing in? I don't know, like nutrition, mindsety bits. I don't know. Yeah, anything 12
The
next
plan
12.
is the plan is all in on the games again.
Yeah.
I, there's not another comp that I look at and go, I really want to do that. So up to this point, it's very much been it's almost been a tick box exercise to get to the games in terms of like, if I can complete all of these comps and I can qualify for all these comps
Yeah.
and place well at them, then I should be in a good place to be able to put myself to the games.
Yeah.
So, and it's what I would deem to be those B comps. So things like your strength and depths, your French throwdowns, your lowlands, your Wadapaloozas, like all of those have built to this one point.
Yeah.
As of now, for in my mind, because I'm there at that point, I almost don't need that builder to it.
Yeah.
If it's one of those where I, like maybe there's going to be something that kind of takes my fancy and I go, oh, I do quite fancy a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But other than repeating those comps, which is not necessarily on my radar, it is that thing of like, well, actually, let's move our way to the games again.
Yeah.
I still want to like play around with my nutrition and things like that even further. And again, I think some of that will also be useful in terms of like my volume tolerance as well. So it's that I need to be able to fuel that additional volume and that additional strength work and everything like that. So squaring that way is going to be super helpful. So,
and then I'm gonna just the final thing now, I guess. Like for your message to, other JST athletes, maybe, those more specifically in Masters divisions, maybe not. But what advice would you give to those who think, like, I want a piece of that? They've kind of seen you do it and they're like, I fancy that. I want to try and do that. Is there anything that you like? Yeah, anything kind of stick out to
yeah,
those?
I was plan it backwards.
Plan it
Plan it
backwards.
backwards. Yeah. So you want to get to the games. So with the idea of like, I just want to get there is it's more of a pipe dream than anything else.
Hmm.
So I want to get to the games. Okay, what are my steps that I need to do to be able to get there? Like, what are the markers that I need to be able to hit along the way to be able to get that? And not just in terms of like, oh, well, I need to be able to, be within that top 10%, I think it is for the open, then I need to be within that top 1%, and then I need to be within the top 30, because that again still doesn't really address your journey.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, where like are you placing at those B comps?
Mhm.
Where are you placing it? Like, are you even qualifying for them to begin with?
Yeah.
Like, if you're not qualifying them for them, okay, well then your step back from that is, what do you need to do to be able to qualify for them?
Yeah.
If we are qualifying for the B comps, where are we qualifying for those B comps? Are you podiuming for them? If you're not podiuming for them, why are you not podiuming for them? Okay, we're podiuming regularly at these B comps. Okay, maybe now is that chance then to make that next jump. So it's
Mhm.
that, yeah, it's that checklist along the way. And if you're not doing those things, so like let's say you are at those B comps, but you're not podium at them, why are you not? Like, that's a discussion to have with your coach, a coach, of what are the steps that I need to do to be able to get there?
Yeah.
Of, okay, let's look at where we fell down within this, because generally at those B comps you are going to see a quite well-rounded test of fitness. So again, what do we then need to do to be able to then take that next step forward in our fitness and keep that moving forward and keep that barreling towards, our next goal?
Yeah, I like it. It's good. Reverse engineer where you want to get to. Yeah, it's good. Good advice. Um, thank you very much for your time, Hugh. It
If
was
you did,
very, very insightful conversation. Loads of stuff in there for everyone to take away. That was absolutely brilliant. Thank you.
well, thank you, man.